it's a new management reality from an OVUM's point of view, because the old management reality was intrinsically anti-proliferation. The new management reality has to be to embrace proliferation, not just to allow anything to happen. So it's not just to say that CIOs should just give up and allow anything to happen in their organisations, but it requires a new mode of thinking which is intrinsically kind of more is more rather than less is more. So the old style standard operating environment thinking said that if we can reduce the set of technologies, then that will, less is more. It will add value by the fact that it's a constrained set of technologies. The new logic is more is more. So we want to drive innovation. As an organisation, we want to be innovative. We want to empower our people to constructively use these technologies, and therefore we have to change our thought processes around how we manage it. So one part of that is, of course, the core institutional systems of the organisation need to be robust and protected. So there must be a standard operating environment to some degree. And the core transaction processing and information systems, etc., still need to be managed tightly under a standard operating environment. But there's increasingly the case for saying that in order to capture some of this innovative energy from these devices, smartphones, tablets, cloud computing applications, etc., we need to use management techniques and technology to insulate our industrial core applications from the effects of these more lightweight consumer-driven technologies. And then we need to have new techniques for actually driving innovation using those technologies. So one of the most powerful developments in this area is virtualization, and specifically desktop virtualization. And the idea that for example, some organisations now, Suncorp in Australia is a bank, which has announced a bring your own computer policy. So through desktop virtualisation, they've got to the point where they no longer care which device, smartphone or tablet or laptop, their employees use. You can bring any device you like, because the technologies of desktop virtualisation enable the services that the organisation provides to be accessed from any device through a web browser and through a virtual desktop provisioning. So that's an example of technology to insulate the industrial core from the effects of these new devices and solutions. That's one. And the other core technique is the use of social computing within the organisation to build stronger and more robust relationships with users. So as opposed to the IT organisation simply defining a policy and then effectively having a computer says no conversation with employees, then the IT department now has to have much more of a proactive teaching, learning, guiding, mentoring conversation with employees around how they can meet their business needs using a range of different technologies, and how they can understand the risks that they might be creating for the organisation, how those risks can be managed, which technologies are better than others for particular purposes, which have unintended consequences. A good example is the use of Dropbox, for example. If you know Dropbox, it's a software as a service cloud computing application that enables people to synchronise data from their device to the internet to other devices. So you can save a file to Dropbox and then access it from your home computer. Now, a lot of employees use Dropbox as a convenient way of archiving and backing up and sharing information between their many devices. But if it's not used properly, it can create security risks for the organisation. So, as an example, CIOs need to be using various forms of engagement, including social computing, wikis, blogs, etc., to build relationships with employees so that they understand what Dropbox is, whether they should be using it, and if not, why not, and how they might otherwise satisfy that need that they have to back up files and to share files between many devices and locations. An old-style approach to that problem is to issue an email to all users banning the use of Dropbox.